welcome to Alive. This is Father Jonathan Meyer, and it is the 15th Sunday of Ordinary Time. Our gospel passage this weekend is Mark chapter 6, 7 through 13. I do not know if you're going to go to the National Eucharistic Revival this upcoming week. I hope that you do. And I hope that you do for many reasons: to celebrate the Eucharist, to go to Eucharistic processions, to attend the Holy Sacrifice of the Mass, to learn more about your faith, to gather with the Universal Church, to hear inspiring talks, but also because I want you to experience a lot of religious. I know that a lot of religious brothers and sisters and religious communities are going to be in Indianapolis, and I want you to see that. At least here in our local area, in southeastern Indiana, we don't have a lot of religious communities that are thriving right now. Hopefully that will change. It's one of my prayers. But, you know, our gospel passage today is pretty clear that Jesus he summons the 12, he gives them authority over unclean spirits, and then he sends them out in 2 by 2, and he says, take nothing for their journey but a walking stick, no food, no sack, no money in their belts. However, they are to wear sandals, but not a second tunic. I think we're sometimes like, wow, how is that relatable to me? Like, I have a house, and I have tons of clothes, and I have money, and I have food, and I have all these things. Like, who's still doing this? And I want to let you know, there's people still doing this. There was a young man who started coming to All Saints Parish. He was a student at the University of Miami in Oxford, Ohio. And he ultimately graduated. He worked for Cincinnati Right to Life, and he kept coming back to the parish. And he was here for a silent retreat a few weeks ago. And I will tell you, like, he got to the point in his life where he's like, Father, I have to give everything. I can't. I want to give everything to God. And the guy ended up selling his car and selling his computer, and he lives with a group of Franciscan friars on the East Coast, and he sleeps on a garage floor. And he goes out with total joy and freedom and preaches the gospel. And, you know, there is this fear that we have as human beings that, like, God isn't enough. I can't give everything to God because I'm actually afraid that God isn't enough. And if I actually gave everything, he wouldn't be there. And I wouldn't have food. I wouldn't have a place to stay. I wouldn't have clothes. I wouldn't have whatever you want to say that it is. And yet, the religious life particularly says, no, God is enough. I was speaking to a group of cloistered sisters a few days ago, and I was saying something about, sisters, like, how do you provide for your life? And they're like, oh, Father, St. Joseph takes care of everything. We just pray and everything is taken care of. I'm just like, wow, okay. Like, that's really amazing. Like, this total abandonment, total trust. And so if you go to the National Eucharistic Congress in Indianapolis, I want you to have your eyes open for the multiplicity of religious that you are going to see that have amazing trust and surrender in a very profound way. I'm a diocesan priest. You know, they sometimes make jokes about priests and religious, like, join the priesthood, travel the world. Like, I have money, I have finances, I have a car, I take care of all these things, but there are some religious communities that are still living this. Like, this is still being lived out. Like, this gospel passage is still being lived out. And I will tell you that the individuals that I've met in my life that have lived this out, like, they have a freedom that's beautiful. They have a freedom that's beautiful. And I realize that, like, it's not something that everyone can do, right? Clearly, if you have children, you can't just, like, have no food. Like, you need to have food, right, for your kids. You need to have a house. And we can talk about, do I live a life of simplicity? Am I detached from these things? But there's people that still do this. There's people who live a life of radical adherence to this gospel passage. And it's beautiful. And I just want you to know that it exists. So, that's what I'm going to say about that. There's discussions questions down below. I would love to hear what you have to say about our gospel passage today. So feel free to put that down in the questions and comments down below. Have great conversations this week. If you're going to the National Eucharistic Congress, look for me. I want you particularly to go to the Eucharistic procession, the Corpus Christi procession, on Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. It's going to be epic. I'm very excited about that. And it's free. So if you live local, get up to Indianapolis at 3 o'clock on Saturday and go to the Congress. It's going to be amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. Join us next week. God bless you. Thanks for watching this video. I want to encourage you to be a purpose partner. Click on the link below and make the decision to be a monthly giver. You can give $5 or $10 a month so that we can continue our purpose of faithful teaching, authentic worship, and compassionate service. Become a purpose partner today. Click on the link below. Join us. God is doing great things. I want you to be a part of that. Amen.